If you're new here, welcome back to the Her Promise Circle podcast. I am the host and also the founder and CEO of Her Promise Circle Women's Wellness Community, Michal. Nice to meet you and welcome back if you are an avid listener. So, if you guys were here last week, then you know that I have been discussing taking up space, giving ourselves permission, healing our connections and relationships with each other, as well as romantic, friendship, familial, just the importance of connecting. I feel that all of this is so interesting to me and constantly comes up repetitively to me because the revelation that God gave me about community, because in my past, I found safety alone. I found safety harbored up with just people like that I felt safe with and not putting myself out there. People who were yes men and also allowing me to do whatever I was doing back then. They were just kind of there. They weren't like helping me grow. They were just able to be there and be a space where I was comfortable living the way I was. And I feel like the revelation that God gave me as he began to reveal to me his love and draw me closer to him and show me how to have a relationship, really. He gave me the revelation of the importance of community and connection. And then with that comes, okay, how do I heal? How do I act? How do I grow into being able to form healthy connection? Why do we need to have healthy connection? And all of that and all of those revelations led to the building of Her Promise Circle. It started as an army of one, okay? Me by myself as a community. This girl who God gave a vision to of women coming together and healing together and preparing for the things that God has for their lives together, loving on each other, but not in that corny Christian group way, no offense, but in a way that we come together and we're like, yo, raw, real women tired of putting up facades and just it feels like as women we have to do more acting than everyone else because we be intimidating people. We be making people feel some type of way. If you're a girly who is on her grind, who has put herself in position where she has, titles, or you own businesses, or you feel powerful and confident in your everyday life, that's intimidating to some people. And sometimes as women, we don't even notice that we shrink ourselves down because we were taught to. It's like society is afraid to let women be themselves. We are supposed to stay in this little box, be able to do the cooking, cleaning, raising the kids. But what do you do when God has bigger plans for you than just those things? And so I believe that's even part of the revelation. I'll talk about that another day. But there's so many things to unpack with this topic of taking up space and allowing ourselves to connect and allowing ourselves to be ourselves in order to find people who are our tribe, are our people. We were created for connection. And so, with that being said, today I want to dive deeper into how God taught me what safe love felt like, how to receive it, how to be it, give it, be comfortable in it, rest in it. I want to talk about safe love, not just in one aspect of relationships, like not just romantically, friendships in the family, whatever. I want to talk about safe love and how it feels to be loved in a way that you feel safe. And the girls who are going to resonate with this are, yes, always my self-isolation girlies, but my anxiety girlies and my girlies who live or have lived in survival mode for most of their lives. Safe love isn't something that's pushed. When talking about love in today's society and dating, let's start there. When talking about dating, what do we hear pushed? When you first meet someone, you have an attraction to someone, you would like them to be someone that you start seeing. What we hear pushed is the spark, right? The spark. Like I knew the moment I met her. Love at first sight. I'm not saying this doesn't happen, but I'm saying that what is pushed to us, what is fantasized to us, is the spark and the fireworks and the butterflies. And I'm sure you guys have heard this before, but I've heard that like sometimes when women feel butterflies, it's actually your body being sensitive to the other person. May mean that they are unsafe for you or may mean to slow down. But when we read it as a woman who has especially an unchecked desire for romance, it feels like you're supposed to have butterflies. It feels like you're supposed to know. And then you start dating, you see the person, you know, off rip, you're in love with them, you talk to them all day long, they text you all day long, they call you all day long. Things are moving fast, things are moving quick. You meet their friends, they meet your parents. Oh, a man should know within this amount of time, and we should know within this amount of time. And that's what's pushed, right? And I feel like this quick moving love only exacerbates someone who has unchecked desires as to why they're pursuing love in the first place. So, we talked about relationship idols. And if you have read my book, then you know my journey through that and how to overcome it yourself. It's called Get Ready for Love. It is on Amazon. If you guys want to purchase that, the link is in the description below. But if we don't take the time as women to understand what we desire when it comes to our love lives and what love means to us. If you don't take the time to figure out what you're actually looking for, the desire for love can leave you distraught. And I'm sure that we've all been in that position where we found someone, and because we wanted to be loved and wanted to be needed and liked the attention and loved how fast it was moving and loved that it was our turn, like Risa Tisa, right? Waiting for your turn. You're tired of waiting. You meet someone, it moves fast, it seems real. Because your desire to be loved is trumping your actual awareness of what you're seeking. It's trumping you seeking clarity from God to see if this thing is in his will, to see if this is the person for you. It's overriding your way to healthy relationships and connections. And if you've ever had a big heartbreak, let's say, I'm sure you can look back and see like, yeah, I overlooked that. I moved a little fast with that. I didn't pay attention when I knew to leave, or I stayed longer than I should have. And most of the time that's because our desire for love and whatever else is trumping our ability to place boundaries and to remove things that are not serving us, to remove things that are not ours, that have entered our lives. And so I wanted to expound on what like survival mode love, let's call it that, has felt like for me in the past. I didn't really know myself. I didn't really know what I was looking for. I didn't really have a template until I got a relationship with God. It was like, is he fine? Okay. He doesn't beat me. He doesn't like treat me terribly, you know, like he's there, he's showing up. Like, I mean, it was very vague. And mind you, I grew up in a single parent household. My grandmother raised me. Also in my family, I never really seen a healthy marriage. I didn't see a healthy marriage at all. I will say that. So what people like me are learning about love comes from society and culture and what we see, because that's what we see. Because in your personal life, what you see, it seems like hell. Okay. But in society and culture, the things that are romanticized are quickly moving relationships, the sparks, the butterflies, the weddings, the moments, the vacations, the posts on Instagram. What's romanticized is moments. And what we miss is the process behind the moments. To have sustainable relationships, the work must be done by both people individually and together. And what I want to talk to you today about is how God taught me what love was, because I had no point of reference. Girl, I had no point of reference in my real life for a long time. I have married friends now, but I had no point of reference for what healthy love looked like. Only what I was told, only what I was shown. And then you're like just left to figure it out for yourself. And this is how beautiful the God we serve is that he knows the desires of your heart. He knows if you desire marriage. He knows that you're seeking love. He knows that you'd like to have someone in your life that's special to you, that you'd like to have a family one day. He knows the desires of your heart. And what's so good about God is, in my personal journey, this is what my book is about, by the way. I'm writing a sort of autobiography on just the part of my life of where I was very far from Christ and gave my life to him and the events that led up to that. So that's going to be deep and intense. And I'm excited to release it so you guys can dig into it. But oh, baby, it has been a journey, ride, very vulnerable, touchy experience. Anyways, God is so beautiful because he knows the desires of your heart. And because he knows the desires of your heart, he prepares you for your desires. Now, that verse in the word that says his thoughts are higher than our thoughts, his ways are higher than our ways. Because baby, when I first came to Christ, that's the first thing I was praying for. Okay? Either lead me back to my ex and let him be the one, or lead me to my husband tomorrow. Like, I don't really have time to waste, Lord. Like, I'm getting older. This is what I desire. I want it in your will and way. Great. Let's get it popping, right? Ooh, baby. Asking for this thing. And really, I'm looking for the love that only God can give. I want it to be loved fully and wholly and seen, to feel valued by someone. And I was tired of just like waiting and picking wrong and getting my heart broken. And it's been 3 years now, mind you, since I fully gave my life back to Christ. And walking with God in these few years has been, girl, crazy. But looking back, like I said, God has had me reflecting and looking back at where I was and looking at where I am now. I see what he had to teach me. I couldn't even recognize the love that I desired in the state I was in when I was praying for it. That is real. And I've never said that out loud. In reflecting back, you see how good God is. But at the time when you're praying for something, you're just wondering why God is making you suffer. Lord, why are you blessing everyone else with what I desire? Why are you making me wait? Why don't you care about me? Don't you see me suffer? David talked to God like this. There's actually a verse that says, like, aren't you tired of seeing me suffer, Lord? Like, aren't you over it? Like, you're watching me suffer and your back's turned to me. What's up? That's how it feels. Because you're like, Lord, I want to walk in your way. I want it. I want it through you. I want it your way. Like, what am I not seeing? And I was praying those types of prayers throughout all these 3 years. Recently, child. But I can sit here and tell you today, I was not ready for the type of love that I desire then. I couldn't even, like I always tell y'all, receive compliments comfortably. I was not a very mushy person. I became a crybaby when I got close to God because I was so guarded and so hardened. I never cried. My friends never saw me cry. I never cried. I was so stubborn and hardened and guarded, and God had to do a mighty work on me. And I'm so glad that he granted me this time. I wasn't then. I wasn't last year. I wasn't 3 months ago. But I can see that to attract the love that I desire, he had to do this work in me. And I wouldn't have been able to do that with my ex. I wouldn't have been able to do that entertaining some other person who wasn't for me, trying to speed up the process. I could only do it in a space of me and God. And so God, in his infinite wisdom, taught me what safe love was. I didn't even know that that's the type of love I wanted. I'm so grateful that I didn't meet someone on the level I was on when I was praying for the man God wanted me to be with. And like I said, God has been having me look back and reflect on the progress that I've made and see. And I see why he wanted me to now, because I am grateful for the times where I was crying and feeling like I was suffering and feeling like he was turning his back to me, feeling like he didn't hear me, feeling like that he was just watching me suffer. I'm grateful he had me look back because I see so many things in that. Like I just said, I see that I didn't even understand the type of love I was asking for. I didn't understand that I didn't experience it yet with God. I hadn't walked with him long enough yet to experience it. I realized why he wanted me to be patient. I realized why he wanted me to seek him even in my anger. That is when I find my most revelation, when I seek God in my frustration with him. I see why he didn't want me to match with someone on a level lower than the amount of love and knowledge of it and experience of it that I am on now. I see why he didn't want me to match with someone unhealed, because now I can pray better prayers. Now I can be specific and ask for the type of love that I desire. Now I can see and recognize the love I desire. Now I can give the type of love that I desire. And as God shows you love, you begin to develop new definitions of it. Since being abstinent, I have learned so much about physical intimacy and my definitions of it. I feel like for a long time, as I said, I didn't realize how meaningful what people overlook often physically, the little things are. How people who feel like they crave physical intimacy are really just seeking to connect and have not healed to the point where they can connect in the way that they truly desire. They have not healed in a way to break their walls down in order to connect emotionally. It's more comfortable to let someone see your body than to see who you are fully inside. So what do you offer? Your body. And that's in any way. It's easier for you to have physical intimacy than emotional and mental intimacy. It's easier for you to prioritize physical intimacy because it puts off you having to do the work that's needed to have emotional and mental intimacy. And I haven't even talked about spiritual intimacy and physical intimacy. If you have mainly physical intimacy, do you really know a person emotionally? Do you really know a person mentally? Do you really know a person spiritually? A person who's ready for a safe love is able to show themselves in all of these aspects fully and openly, taking the risk of being seen fully, because that's how they would be loved as themselves by another person who's ready for safe love. And as I said, my understanding of love and intimacy has grown so much, and I'm so grateful that God broke my heart to save it. Because I can now recognize the love that I desire. I couldn't have recognized it then. I wasn't even comfortable with it then. I tell you guys all the time, I couldn't even receive compliments. I still struggle. And I'm grateful for knowing what a safe love is, because I don't feel like it's going to be oh, 1, 2, 3, we're all healed. Now we're in a healthy marriage. No, you're going to always be doing healing to some way, in some form. And the man you find, or if you're a man listening to this, the woman you find is going to be able to be patient with you and walk with you as you allow them to see you. But what's different about a safe love is that a safe love sees you being vulnerable, sees you working and trying, and still is able to love you just the same. That's not to say that would be easy, but it is faithful. It is patient. It shows up when it says it's going to. It walks with you. And like I said, I didn't even have the words to illustrate the type of love I desire. That's what I want. And okay, let's not just even talk about romantic relationships. That's what I want with my friends. That's what I want with my family. Me and my mom don't always get along, but I love her dearly. And I think it's because we were raised in 2 different generations. She is a boomer and I am not. I'm a millennial and have gone through therapy. And when it comes to familial relations, I feel like that generation puts up a bunch of rules in order to protect themselves from feeling vulnerable or showing themselves fully. Because I find myself in a space being able to be patient with my mother when we quote unquote argue or have a conversation that may be uncomfortable. I don't know if any of you are actually walking through this same journey, but healing your relationships with your parents or people in your family. But as I heal and I'm able to take on the Holy Spirit's fruit of patience and kindness, even in my anger, we are having the conversations. Now, I'm not saying they're easy or even feel effective, but we're having the conversations. These are things I never could even talk to my mother about, things that I've gone through in my childhood, ways that she made me feel, and I always give the parents grace. Like I said, we're going to give our parents grace on this podcast, but I want a safe love in all of my relationships because the people who make you feel safe are going to be the light that you need when things get rough. Rachel was here last week. That's our director of fitness. And we were talking about how I used to say, I hate people. I hate people. Like people just irritate me. And she was saying how she felt the same way. She would go to work, she would be working in ministry as well. And like, she's like just irritable. And we talk through it. And I go, we both sort of said, when we're around people that we can put our wall down, our mask down for, or we can be fully ourselves, more than the people that you feel you have to perform in front of. It is then that you find a place where you can fully be yourself. Let your hair down, relax, rest, be yourself. That is where your solace comes from. But if you're spending most of your time around people you feel you have to perform around, you're going to be irritable because you can't be yourself. And that's very frustrating. So imagine before you even realize that there is such a thing as safe relationships and connections. Before you realize that, how many friendships did you have that were only due to proximity? How many friendships that you had were only because you worked together, only because you lived on the same street, only because you went to the same college, only because you were from the same hometown, only because you had mutual friends, grew up in the same neighborhood? How many friendships did you have based out of proximity? How many friendships do you have now that you entertain solely because you've been in proximity so long, you feel like you have to be loyal to it? When y'all been outgrew each other. Or you outgrew them. But this happens when you start becoming aware of who you are. Because if you don't know who you are, sis, you won't be able to know if you're masking. You won't be able to know if you're being yourself or not. If you do not know yourself, how can you recognize when you're performing? You can't. You don't know the difference. This happened to me in my mid-20s. I realized I didn't know myself. I was always performing. I always had a mask up. I always had a way I wanted to paint myself in front of people, even my quote unquote friends. I don't even talk to most of the people now. I just didn't know myself. I didn't know I was performing because I didn't know about any of this. But I knew I was irritable. I knew I was uncomfortable. I knew it felt like I hated people, and I really didn't hate people. I love people. Look at my heart now. I love people. I love the people we work with. I get my energy from people. We were made for connection anyway. And I see why the enemy attacked me most in relationships, because now I'm in a space where I can reach people. I can love on people in community, through a podcast, through social media. I can show God's love to people in such a high degree and reach many people without leaving my house. Nah, child, I'm leaving the house, okay? I told y'all that's my New Year's resolution, is to be more social. But yeah, I'm grateful that God allowed me to learn his love before connecting me to my person. I'm grateful that he also connected me to new friendships and connections, Christian ones, that are genuine and loving and allow me to be myself while I was healing and growing, because that sustained me. I'm grateful that God taught me what safe love was, because now I can recognize it and receive it. And this is why we talked about relationship idols. This is why you must know why you want it. Are you willing to compromise what God says in order to have someone around? Or do you genuinely want a relationship that advances the kingdom, that is in God's will, that only exemplifies the love that God shows you already? One that is purposeful, one that is forever. And are you preparing for it? Are you in it right now? But these are the questions we need to ask ourselves so we can get to know ourselves, what we want and desire. When you're so disconnected from your desires, it's hard. And you don't have a template. You don't know what you're matching with. You're just kind of going off of what you thought, or what you thought you knew, or what society and culture has told you what love is. And like I said, I didn't really have any examples of what love was, what healthy marriage or love looked like in my life. Even familial relationships, I didn't know, because it was such a dynamic. We have so many different generations in our family. We have a tough time communicating sometimes. With friendships, a lot of my friendships were proximity, but you don't know that until God teaches you what love is. And then once he does, girl, everything starts falling apart. People start falling off because you are no longer settling for relationships you have to perform in. For relationships you have to feel like you need to do more in to be loved. You now want to be seen because you see people. You now want to be able to vent and be vulnerable and be loved and love back, knowing that it's a faithful love, a patient love, a kind love. I'm just so grateful to God that he taught me what love was before I started seriously preparing and praying for marriage. Because yeah, girl, I was praying for it, but I was not preparing for receiving what I was praying for, because there was a lot of things I didn't want to touch. A lot of things that I recognized but didn't take to God. And in taking things to God, I have had the most revelation. And God shows us that even when you have uncomfortable feelings, you still are seen and loved. I was in relationships in my 20s where every time I brought something up that bothered me, I was told I was argumentative, trying to start an argument, that I was too much, whatever. Maybe you can relate. Why are you trying to always start an argument? I'm like, no, I'm just telling you how I feel. Like I'm telling you how you make me feel, and they didn't want to hear it, But God is not like that. God's just there. He's just listening. And then he answers you. He gives you reassurance. He gives you support. It brings you community, gives you healing and guidance. And God has been just so good to me when it comes to revealing things to me that change my life. And in my maturity, knowing what love is, I see that our society glorifies quick burn love, fast moving love. I do believe that it doesn't take a long time to figure out if you want someone to be in your life or not. I do think that. I do think men can tell if they're going to pursue a woman seriously or not in a decent amount of time. Not 5 years, not 3 years, not 2 years, not 1. I think that it takes less than a year for a man to know where he could categorize a woman. I hate putting timelines on things. This is different for everyone, and that's everybody. That's, everyone's entitled to their opinion. But the spark, the fireworks, the butterflies, people are living for moments. People are living for moments. The vacation pictures, the family photos. We just bought a house, family photos, Valentine's Day reels and photos, the Galentine's Day, the Friendsgiving, the family vacations. People are dying to have highlighted moments on their social media pages. People are getting in crappy relationships and dealing with them just to have the proof that they have it, because it makes them feel validated and valued. And I'm not saying that's everybody, but I'm sure it's a decent number. I do know of healthy marriages and all of that, which is why it's important to not base what we know on social media. But I will say that social media and culture is where I took my cue from as to what love was, because again, I grew up in a broken home. I was raised by a single mother. My father was not in my life. I never saw healthy marriage in my mother's sisters or brothers, my aunts and uncles. I never saw it with my cousins. And so how else would Mickey learn what love was except from what she saw? And what else do I have to see? People around me, TV, social media. And you start to take your cues outside of what God says it is. But I never took the time to see what God said love was, because I didn't think he loved me that much. God is love. Jesus loves you. That's great. But look at my experience with him. Like, that's how I felt for a long time. Because y'all know, he let me down pretty hard when I was 19, when my grandma died. And that really hurt me. And that really pushed me away from him for a time. And then I started to treat people the way I treated God, pushing people away, keeping them at arm's length. Even in a relationship, girl, I was keeping people at arm's length. And I was wondering why I was attracting emotionally unavailable men, because your girl was emotionally unavailable. I craved it. I desired intimacy. I didn't have that with myself. I didn't have that with God. So I couldn't receive it and I couldn't give it, but I craved it because I was created to have it, to experience intimacy. And I wanted to read Corinthians with you. Safe love, gentle love. What does the Bible say about love? And I've read this on here before, but we're talking about a different topic, so I felt it to be relevant. 1 Corinthians 13:4. Love endures with patience and serenity. Love is kind and thoughtful. It is not jealous or envious. Love does not brag and is not proud or arrogant. It is not rude. It is not self-seeking. It is not provoked, nor overly sensitive and easily angered. It does not take into account a wrong endured. It does not rejoice at injustice, but rejoices with the truth when right and truth prevail. Love bears all things, regardless of what comes. It believes all things, looking for the best in each one. It hopes all things, remaining steadfast during difficult times. It endures all things without weakening. Love never fails. It never fades nor ends. I just feel like we read that, but until you fully experience God's love and have a season with Him, this is my experience. Until I was able to experience His love for myself in a true season of singleness, sis. No roster, no interests, no crushes. I was literally hidden. I promise. Hidden. Like no one noticed me, see me, but at first I didn't like it. But I became content because I began to understand, like I said, when God had me reflecting back, I'm like, I had no idea. Look at all the things that were keeping me from the love that you have available for me. Thank you for allowing me to be patient in this process, to see it, because now I know that you're working things out for my good. I knew it, the verse, but now I know in my heart because I've experienced your goodness, even when I'm crying and suffering, feeling like I'm suffering. I've experienced your goodness because you knew the desire of my heart initially. And because I prayed the prayer that I wanted true love, you didn't let me settle for less than that. Y'all, come on. God is so good. And here's the second thing. He also teaches you how to have the relationship once you get it. He teaches you that you can be open and expressive, yet still reverent. He teaches you how to bear difficult times. He teaches you to be patient. He teaches you to be kind. He opens up your heart so it can be softened, receiving love and giving it, selfless love, without expecting anything back, without recounting wrongs. He teaches us how to have the love we're asking for. But if we're impatient, like your girl is, it just seems like he's playing with you. And it just seems like it's person after person after person. But really, you're prolonging the process by seeking before you're ready, by seeking before doing the healing. And the only way through it, baby, is time. That's it. I don't know what else to tell y'all. The only way through it is to do it. There's no shortcut, because who knows how long I extended my time by spending my time, wasting my time on distractions, when I should have just been honed in and seeking God's face so He can show me what the love was. And I'm telling you this from the other side because I see it. So like, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful because I feel so secure. I feel so safe. I feel so protected. I feel like He's guiding me. I feel like I can recognize this love, the godly love that I've been experiencing with God by myself. I can recognize that in friends, in my family. I can recognize that in my future husband because I've been experiencing it with God. And I'm so grateful because the only way to get that type of love is to become it. And God has been so good to me because He didn't want me to settle for less than what I was asking for. A gentle love that shows up and keeps showing up gentle, no matter how it feels. A faithful love that shows up, that doesn't let you down, that is faithful to what they tell you they're going to do. They don't let you down. They let you be. They let you exist. They let you just let your walls down. And if you are in your single season right now, start practicing with friendships, because that's what I've been doing. Start practicing with your family, because that's what I've been doing. Are you showing godly love? Are you receiving the godly love that is available to you? Are people in your life that shouldn't be? Are you entertaining a less than love than what God has for you? Are you being faithful out of time spent versus letting go of something that's keeping you or holding you back from the healing process so you can have what you've been asking for? For all my married girls and in relationship girls that listen, I don't mean to speak to just the single girlies. It's just my experience. But I pray that you always take something from my lessons in love, from what God shows me about his love. Our current Bible study topic is the revelation of God's love. And every time I'm in a topic, girl, I always do the topic and I'm like, all right, Lord, thanks for teaching me that. I'm going to do it in Bible study. When we're actually in the topic, sis, I swear, I be going through it. God is like, oh, you want to teach them about revelation of love? Let's go even deeper. And that's how it feels. I'd be like, okay, Lord, like get up off my back. Like, dang, can I breathe? But nah, I'm grateful. I'm resonating gratitude right now, sis. Like it's literally reflecting off of me. I am so grateful to my God for knowing what I desired, bypassing what I thought I desired, helping me remove the things that were just distracting me. People, let's say that. By letting me be sad for future joy. By connecting me to people who know his love and have experiences. By bringing me friends who I could be myself around and talk to about things that are hard. So I could be able to do that when I do get married. The safe love that God gives is knowing that you are protected even in the times you feel like you're not. Knowing that you are truly safe, even when you feel vulnerable. And God gives us the confidence to show up as exactly who we are, because when you're spending all your time resting in this love that only God can give you, you can't help but want to stay there. I don't want to come out of here. I don't want to have to come up out of my safe space of vulnerability for anybody. Now, of course, at work, you got to be all corporate and professional, but most of your time, sis, should not be spent with people you have to perform in front of. Most of your time should be spent with people you can be yourself around, rest around, and experience God's love with. And so this week, I just wanted to touch on what I've been learning. I pray it blesses you, because I'm just so grateful, and I wanted to talk about it with you guys because you're like my besties. So I'm just like, yeah, that's what I really want. I really want a safe love. And I feel like for the first time in my life, I can recognize it and receive it. And whatever that looks like for you, you understand. But in our current lives, we can't be praying for that type of love and not be practicing it in our current lives, settling for less than that in our current lives. We have to be constantly recognizing God's love in other people and giving it even when we don't receive it, and not settling for it in your relationship currently, your current relationships. Because if God has this perfect plan that involves me experiencing this type of love from everyone around me, I'm about to cry. God taught me love, gave me a vision to start a community to show that love, to help heal others after he healed me and continues to heal me. And you mean to tell me that you wanted me to be patient through this process so that I could just have loving relationships surrounding me always see your love in everyone I interact with. I'm not painting a fantasy, y'all. It says love endures all things. That means there's going to be hard times. That means there's going to be hard conversations. That means there's going to be fights and arguments. We're human beings. But love endures. It bears. It's kind. It's gentle. And I see myself in a marriage where, how I said, I'm still healing and growing, where I can tell my husband, like, babe, I could come back and be like, I recognize this thing. And I just need you to be patient with me. And I am trying to heal and grow. And he's there while it's in the process of growing, right? Can see me fully for all my flaws and weaknesses and still love me just the same, just as God does. That's so beautiful. And for you, sis, to have friends who see you fail, make mistakes, who see your weaknesses, that you don't have to pretend to be a perfectionist around. You don't have to post moments just to have their love and validation. Friends who see you for you, who you can break down in front of, who you can talk to about your past and your future and your dreams and your hopes and be vulnerable with. And they support you and they love you and they're not yes men. They're able to tell you when you need a little check out of love. Imagine experiencing God's love in order to be surrounded by his love in your everyday life by the people he puts there, and being able to give it because you're poured into by those people, and being able to give it to difficult to love people because you've experienced God in this way. And I'm just so grateful for this process, because I'm experiencing the love that I am desiring with God in my single season. Like, it feels like if this was a video game, like if there's levels, it feels like I'm like right there, because once you become it, you attract it. You have no choice but to attract that type of love. And I feel it. Girl, I feel it in my everyday life. I can hone into that love if I need it. I don't feel lonely. I don't feel insecure. I don't feel scared. I don't feel impatient. I feel stable and safe. I feel loved. I feel deeply loved. I'm no longer picking myself apart like I used to. Now it's a habit. So it pops up, but I'm able to cast down that imagination, knowing that God created me the way he created me, knowing that God put me in the position I'm in, knowing that he loves me and it keeps me and guides me, knowing that he's always with me, knowing that even when it feels hard or like it hurts or like I'm suffering, that he has a better plan. Because like I just told you, I watched it happen in my life in real time. I had to break up with someone who I thought I was going to be with. Give it to him. I'm so glad that I did. So if you're making that decision right now, if God has been at you, at your neck, girl, about the things that you need to release from your life, people, places, things, let them go. Because on the other side of it is just him showing you more love, him showing you more of his goodness, him showing you can expect well. Love sees the best. You can expect well of God because he has well for you. It feels hard. It feels hurtful. It feels like he don't see you, but he does. And the wait is always for something better. Always, 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 always. I didn't even know this existed. You always hear people talk about it and you roll your eyes, but I just feel secure in God's love. I just know I'm loved. I just know it. I understand it. I'm experiencing it. I am a product of God's love. Once it gets to that point, then you can live a life that's fulfilling and beautiful. You can attract the love that you desire in every type of relationship you have. Like I said in the beginning, don't forget I have the letters to my future husband journal if you guys want to join me in writing your letters to your husband. And so they say letters to my husband. So if you are married, you can still use it. You can tear them out They're tear out pages. So like say you want to leave him little notes or whatever, but it's letters to my husband. So I plan on giving it to my husband on our wedding day. But you guys, use it for whatever you feel. If you're dating someone, maybe you want to write him the same thing for when you guys do get married. Or yeah, it's something that God put on my heart to do, to write things down, to write them out, and to speak life into my husband now. To speak life into him now, to pray over him, to cover him, to protect him, so that I'm in the habit when we get married. It's just normal because that's just what I've been doing. And I definitely have to make an entry about this safe love thing. But I pray that this episode blessed you guys. It's been a journey and a process for your girl, but I thank you for being here. I don't know if a lot of my episodes make sense because I literally get on and I'm like, I want to talk to my girls. Like today was that. And I just wanted to talk to you because I just feel really good. And I'm grateful for even the tough times and the pain, because y'all should have saw me on the bathroom floor crying, okay, wanting to cry and throw up, being heartbroken in my last relationship, and just knowing like it feels so hard. It feels like the end. It feels like God doesn't see you, but like he does. And he knows that desire. And that's why you can't settle for less than what he has for you, because he has it for you. Like he's just so good. And I'm grateful for him. If you are not a member, become a member of Her Promise Circle. We are a group of women who are real and raw and just are there for each other with God's love, fully, honestly, and in whatever mood we're in, we show up for each other. It's a place where you can just be. You don't have to perform. You don't have to be anyone. You don't have to be this perfect Christian girl. You don't have to be anything. You just be you. And you just come and you just experience us being us. We get really deep and raw and real, and we truly vent to each other, and we're just there. And so we are exclusive, but that's because we've created this culture of vulnerability. And so we protect it. Don't forget, sign up for our book club. We are meeting at the end of this month. I'm so excited for it. Our first book is Atomic Habits. So if you are a self-help book, Christian book kind of girly, join us. The link is down below. I am planning our first meetup. So anyone who listens to the podcast, anyone who's in our book club, anyone who is a member of Her Promise Circle, or anyone who finds out about us, bring your friends. I will give you more details as I find them out. I cannot wait to meet all of you, hug all of you, and see you. So that is upcoming. Okay. And so I want to pray for us, and then I'll let us go. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for my sister and the time we've spent together. I pray, Lord, that this message and my journey and my experience has blessed them. I thank you for your perfect love. I thank you that your love continues to grow us and heal us, show us grace and mercy. I thank you for the life that you have given us to lead, the gifts that you've put in us, the experiences that we've experienced that just grow us closer to you and to our purpose that you have granted us. I thank you, God, for the healing you're doing in my sister right now through this podcast, through my words, and through whatever study she's doing on her own. I thank you for speaking to her in a way that you haven't before, that she is experiencing a healing. Any of my sisters with heartbreak, I pray that you heal that heart in the name of Jesus. Give my sister strength, those who must leave relationships you're trying to pull them out of. Lord, I pray that you give her clarity and give her confirmation. I pray, Lord, that those who are coming out of self-isolation and into a season of trying to connect and grow and have healthy connections, that you continue to help us do that, Lord, that you continue to help us be strong in you and confident in you, that you lead them to their destiny helpers, to their new best friends, and to their relationships that they desire. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. Thank you guys for listening. As usual, follow me on Instagram, reach out to me. Love you dearly. Can't wait to talk to you and see you and hug you at the meetup. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for it. Sorry I had to mention it again. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.